Hi, this is Jennifer Batten here at American Musical Supply. I started playing guitar when I was 8 years old, and people often want to know why I started, and it was a two-parter. One part is seeing the Beatles on TV, and my whole neighborhood, I lived in this little tiny town in upstate New York, and the whole neighborhood was all about the Beatles. And the other part is my sister had a guitar and I didn't, and I was jealous and quite pissed. So when I finally got a guitar, it was an electric, which way back then in the 60s was really odd for a kid, especially an 8-year-old, to get an electric for your first guitar. So I thought it was the bomb. Growing up and listening to so much music, it's really hard to tell what made it into your own playing, because it tends to go into the gray matter. You absorb it on different levels, whether it's rhythm, lyrics, chords, textures, and it comes out hopefully in an original way. And it's the stuff that resonates with you most is what you filter into your own playing. When I went to guitar school, which was GIT at the time, it was only guitar. It was the third class they ever had. And there were 3 teachers. It was Don Mock, he was the fusion guy, and the other 2 guys were way bebop, Ron Este and Joe Diorio. And I really locked onto Joe. I was just obsessed with what he was doing because he was into these wide intervallic skips, and it just sounded so fresh and modern to me. He was a huge influence, and just the school in general was so intense. One of the most valuable things was Howard Roberts, who did the original curriculum, was really into cutting-edge education. He said, you know, if it wasn't against the law, I would hook you all up with electrodes, and every time you play a wrong note, you go he goes, you'd be playing so good, so fast. But beyond that, he taught us to focus. The Michael Jackson thing was just a blessing, an absolute blessing. At that time, I was teaching at GIT, and said send us 2 people. And I was one of the lucky winners that got a call. And I said, when's the last possible time I could audition so I could stay home and really nail the tunes? Canceled everything, went in a couple days later, and there was no band. It was just me and a video camera. And the only guidance I was really given was to play some funky rhythm stuff, because that would be, 85-90% of my job there on stage. And so I improvised something, then I went into just random soloing, and I had been playing Beat It in a cover band for a couple years, fortunately, so I had that under my fingers and ended with that, because I thought, he might find that useful. So a couple days later, I got a call that Michael had seen the video and he was interested in come down, rehearse with the band, and just see how it goes. Phenomenal band to work with. I mean, I grew so much in that year and a half. Just incredible. Eventually, I had a passport and a ticket to Tokyo, and I thought, this is looking good. He shut down the Tokyo Disneyland so we could all hang out for a couple hours. And I'll never forget, it's one of those moments frozen in time, where Cheryl and I were in a gift shop, and I was looking, just fascinated with this Daffy Duck toothbrush holder, where you push down Daffy's head and the eyes go back and forth for as long as you're supposed to brush your teeth. This is the kind of crap I spend my money on. And, I was pushing the head, watching the eyes, pushing the head, watching the eyes, and I get a tap on the shoulder, and it's Michael. And he goes, I really like how you're playing the Beat It solo. And I'm thinking, job security! Cha-ching! So I stayed with him for 10 years, did all of his solo tours, and it was a blast, a wonderful way to see the world. The Michael Jackson gig and Jeff Beck gig were night and day different, 180 degrees. Michael, just about every song we played had been at least a top 10 hit, if not number 1. So what that means is people have that in their heads, and whether the audience realizes it or not, they know the EQ of the snare, and they'll know if it's not right. So much time was spent dialing in sounds, especially with keyboards. And it's parts. With Jeff, it was night and day different. He wanted it to be different every night instead of the same. He wanted us to fire him up and take him places, because he's an improviser, he's always off the cuff no matter what. I learned the stuff that was off the records, and mostly that was synth triggering, which in the olden days, synth triggering was another world. Unlike what we have today, the joys of the technology. I was using, the best stuff at the time, which was not great. And I had a whole rack full of crap. And I had a whole just a nightmare of pedals because I had my regular guitar gear. I had a preset changer for that, and a whammy, and a wah, and a volume. And then over on this side, it was Keyboard World, where I had 2 volumes because I was controlling 2 different synth modules, because a lot of the sounds, I had 2 sounds blended together. And just the tap dancing was a nightmare. Now with the triple play, that's it. This USB dongle, laptop or iPad, that's all you need. With the triple play, man, I can play like a guitar player. And it just picks up all the nuance, all the little bends, the tremolo bar. It just reacts the way you want it to react. So it's a whole other world.